Aloha. Hey guys, here we are in grade 4, module 2, lesson 10. And you can see we are going to multiply by applying simplifying strategies. And the question is, how are simplifying strategies useful when multiplying? Well, let's figure that out. So here we go. Strategies. Okay, strategies are things that can help you, right? Help you figure things out. So our first strategy is to decompose factors. And here we go with the words again, right? Well, decompose. Think about you put something in the compost or something dies, a plant or something outside, and it's going to decompose. It's going to break apart. So decompose means to break apart the numbers. And factors are numbers that are multiplied, okay? Important word to know. So we're going to break apart the numbers that are multiplied. So let's imagine that we have a problem like 6 times 78. Well, we could break it into 6 times 70 plus 8. Or 6 times 50 plus 20 plus 8. Because 70 is 50 plus 20, right? Or we could break our 6 into 3 plus 3 times 50 plus 20 plus 8. Or we could just do 3 plus 3 times 78. Okay? These are all options, and I hope that's not too overwhelming, but we want you to see how you can break that 78 into smaller pieces to help you to do the math, okay? Trying to make the math easier. And I drew the some tape diagrams over here for you. 6 times 70 plus 8, right? So that's trying to make it a little bit easier, right? And that's the same thing as what we have here inside these parentheses, right? I just wanted to show it to you in two different ways. And then 50, we changed our 78 into 50 and 20 and 8, and you can see the same thing there. You could break this into as many pieces as you want, as long as they all add up to 78, because you're multiplying 6 by each of them. And that's the same thing you're doing here when you're multiplying. You change your 6 to 3 plus 3, and then you're multiplying 3 times 78 and 3 times 78, just to make it a little bit easier for yourself, okay? So decompose is one of your strategies, okay? Another possible, let's practice using a decomposition strategy, okay? Let's work on this together. And I didn't say it, but you could go back and pause me and take some notes, or make sure you understand what I just talked about, right? Always can pause. Okay, so 8 times 72. What could we do to our 72? How could we break it apart? Well, we could do, 8, right? 8, we're multiplying by 8. We could do 8 times 50 times 20 times 2. Yeah, I'm kind of comfortable with that, because I know that 8 times 5 is 40, and then I'm going to add the 0 on, right? 8 times 5 is 40, so don't mess up because there's a 0 there already, right? And then 2 times 8 is 16, and put the 0 on, and 2 times 8 is 16 without a 0. Okay, so then I can see all of my pieces. I could even easily add those together, because of course I have to add them together because that's my answer, right? So that would be 6, 7, and 5, 576. Now, could I do something with tens and ones to figure that out? Well, 72, right? There's 2, and here's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? There's 7. Now I need 8 of those. Okay, so I could draw it 8 times. I don't think I'm going to take the time to draw it 8 times now. But if you like place value, this is a strategy you could use to help yourself really see what you're doing, right? Okay. I'm just trying to think if there's another way we want to break it apart. We could do 4 and 4, right? And then put it all together with our 8. I kind of like this break apart here, okay? If you need to, pause me, write this down. All right, let's go to our next one. Mental math is another strategy, okay? And I'm glad that we're explaining it, because when I was a kid, people would talk about mental math, but they didn't really explain it. So I'm going to try and explain it to you. if I have a problem like 3 times 60, I can think 3 times 50, right? Because I know 3 times 5 is 15, and that's 150, right? 3 times 50 is 150. But my problem is 3 times 60. Well, I can just do one more 10. 3 times 10 is 30. So 3 times 60 is 180. Okay? That's another way to think about it. You might be thinking 3 times 6 is 18, and then bring my 0 over. That works too. I'm just trying to model for you how you can think about the numbers. Like right here, what about 3 times 49? Okay, that could be a lot to think about, but I could think about 3 times 50 being 150, and then I put all these marks here because we're going to subtract 3 times 1, which is just 3, okay, because I have 1 less, right? So I'm multiplying by 1, and I'm going to take it away, so 147. So 3 times 49 is 147. Now that's pretty neat, right, to think about. Okay, pause me and write that down, or make sure you understand that there. Mental math. Okay, and this is also thinking about mental math. Here's our 349 that we just talked about, and our 3 times 1. So we're taking our 3 times 1 away from our 3 times 50, 150 minus 3, 147. Okay, now remember, I'm taking away 3 times 1 because I'm multiplying 3 times everything. So I need to make sure I'm taking away 3, not just 1, right? Okay, then I could think about unit form. 53s minus 1 3. 53s is 150, minus 1 3 is 3, which is 147. Okay, and then I could draw a tape diagram. There are a lot of different strategies. You should really try to hone in on the one that you like the best, the one that really works for you. That's why we show you so many different strategies. Okay, so 3 times 50 is going to be my whole thing here. But what I'm trying to do is 3 times 49, right? And then I have 3 here, and I'm going to be taking that away. Okay, so you see 49, 49, 49, and 3 more because it's 3 times 50. That's my 3 that would make these 50s, right? But I'm taking it away because that's going to be, once again, 147. Okay, take a pause, take a picture. All right, now compensation is kind of what we've been talking about with this taking away, but I just wanted to talk about it because this is a vocabulary word that we use a lot in math, compensation. And it's weird because compensation means like your payment. And sometimes your payment for something that didn't go well, right? So let's say you were hired for a job, you moved across the country for the job, but then something happened and the job's no longer there. So they might compensate you for your time and your travel. They might pay you some money even though you weren't able to take the job, right? But that doesn't, we do have some subtraction here. So in math, compensation is when we're going to change the numbers and then subtract to make it easier. Okay, so we're trying to make it easier. We're trying. Okay, so let's say I had a number like 4 times 19. Well, I could change it to 4 times 20 and then subtract 4 times 1. Okay, so 4 times 20, 4 times 2 is 8. Bring the 0 along. 4 times 20 is 80. 4 times 1 is 4. Then I just subtract that and I get 76. All right, now I want you to pause me and try this one on your own using the same model that I just did right here, except now we have 5 times 29. Okay, pause me. All right, and we're back. So I'm going to do 5 times 30, and then I'm going to subtract 5 times 1, right? Because my 30 is 1 less, and I'm multiplying 5 by both of them. Maybe that's what you did, or maybe you did a different strategy. That is fine. So 5 times 30 is 150. 5 times 3, bring the 0, minus 5, so that's 145. So 5 times 29 is 145. Okay? You want to make sure that whatever strategy you use is efficient and it's going to work well. Now, in today's work, you're just going to try out some different strategies. Please try a few ones and figure out which one works the best for you. And I hope I helped you, and have a great day. Aloha.